Well, I'm here with Dr. Steve Cloud, who is a close friend of mine, been a mentor of mine for years, and pastored Northside Baptist Church in Columbia for many years. Been on boards of trustees and things with other higher education institutions. Been a speaker, been a coach, an executive coach, just a man of many talents, and a person that shares my passion and has shared in my passion and passed on to me a passion for this disciple-making urgency. Steve, you've got a lot of family, you've got a lot of connectivity and a lot of things on your resume. Why don't you just take a minute and introduce yourself and share about yourself and what you've been a part of this year?
Well, I've enjoyed my interactions with you over this last 5 years. I pursued coaching coming out of the pastorate primarily because of the impact of the discipleship model of how people change, when do people change, and what is the process that leads to a transformation in thinking and action. And so the coaching model is a great model, working with the church, working with discipleship. So that has been a strong pursuit of mine over the last 25, 30 years.
So let's get right into this, and let me just kind of tee you up to talk about your sweet spot a little bit. Why is it that today we don't have more models in churches and even in our families, more models of effective processes that produce healthy, multiplying disciple makers?
It's a great question. I think that one of the reasons why is because of the pressures, the busyness, the survival skills within our own denomination and in many evangelical circles. What we applaud is that the church is growing and healthy. Most people related to the church are very familiar with the percentage of churches that are declining or plateaued. We can celebrate the fact that there are some growing churches today, that there's an element of vibrancy moving forward. On the other side, some of the data says there's less than 5% of churches in America that have an effective process of multiplying disciple makers. So when I stop and think about the why, Simon Sinek says, start with why. He's dealing with purpose. I think asking that question of why are there not more models is a great place to start. I mean, evangelical pastors know the importance of disciple making. We've got tons of materials. There have been a variety of efforts, but trying to get handles on what are the hindrances and taking the time to do that, a lack of doing that is one of the reasons why we're not getting to the bottom of it. We got people that are smart and trying to decide it. So I think getting clarity to what are the key hindrances would be very helpful.
Well, let's just push right into that. When you look at this with your years of experience and your unique perspective from a lot of different angles, and disappointment, I think that's a fair description of how you and I feel about this, having been out on the front lines of this for a long time and helped others that are. What are the hindrances? What are the barriers that are holding us back, even if we want to move forward with a healthy disciple-making, multiplying type process? What's keeping that from happening?
Yeah. And even to push into clarity with that, what is keeping it from being enough of a priority that it develops a passion, that there's an urgency among pastors to see this happen at a church? And the obvious answer is there's a value piece. Either we're not seeing that it's valuable enough to multiply disciples, or there's a hope piece to not sure that it can happen or will happen. And so we've tried, we've done different things, but we have not seen that, which is one of the reasons why there's got to be an urgency produce some of the models that not only show a pathway that offer a source of hope and expectancy, that different sized churches can walk forward to see a pathway that begins to multiply disciple makers. I think that is one of the factors. I think another factor, like I know you have a background doing some consulting and coaching, and whether you're dealing with a church, a business, an outside organization, if you're at a plateaued spot, most of the time an outside consultant is going to come back and look at the basics. We're going to have an honest evaluation of how effective are we being. So what's our core data? Are we in an upward trend or a downward trend? Do we have a culture where our leadership is engaged and passionate? Are we producing a foundation of people who are ready and hungry to disciple others? And so there's got to be some level of an assessment that gives us accurate insights to where we are right now. And when you don't have a foundation, then what you have is a fired up pastor who tries to start a new program that becomes a little discouraging within 9 months.
And we see it time and time again.
Yeah, we
that
do.
Discouragement settles in, and then disbelief that anything can move forward whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think another factor is that we do not have clarity in our terms. What is a disciple? What is a disciple maker? So we lack the priority and the passion. We've also got to get a clarity of our terms, our vision, and a pathway that fits the church that is seeking to launch this. And it takes a little bit of time to do that. The problem is we want quick fixes. That's been one of the Achilles heel for well-intentioned, wonderful leaders. I think at the denominational level, at the local church level, that we need something that produces a level of recognized success rapidly, and it fights against us being willing to pay the price to lead a reproducing foundation.
Yeah, so let's say we don't do anything. Obviously, the virtual faith link is something we're focused on at the seminary level and launching and designing, and you've agreed to be a part of being a voice in my ear in regard to not only disciple making, but some type of specific strategy that can be multiplied itself and simplified to reproduce. Let's say we don't do anything. What's at stake if we don't fix this chronic issue?
Yeah, it's nothing less than the Great Commission. It's, that's the foundation, that's the mandate. Disciple making opens the leadership pipeline. Without the leadership pipeline, the same people get called on to do more. Discouraged people are asked to take on something else. And churches can be growing rapidly, but if we're not reproducing disciple makers, we're constantly behind the curve. We're enlisting people who are not equipped, and we're frustrated when there's rapid turnover and a lack of productivity. I think it is the multiplying disciple makers that helps to create this spiritual foundation that helps the church to be in front of that curve.
What value do you see specifically in the virtual faith link design that prompted you to agree to serve on the advisory team along with so many others?
Yeah. Well, your creativity, your commitment to pursue this, the support of the seminary to lead to this. I mean, you're coming back to ask the foundational questions. You're drawing together a team of highly committed, intelligent, experienced leaders that and are going to allow me to sit with that group and I can learn from. But you're pursuing it with a level of intentionality that inspires me. That's why.
Well, I appreciate you taking a little bit of time to share your thoughts on it. Anything else you want to share?
Well, I'm excited that there's a group of people that are looking at this, and I'm praying specifically that God will raise up some of these models that will offer the hope and inspiration as well as clarity of an effective pathway. So I think you're on to something, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Well, thanks so much, Steve. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're so welcome. God bless.